What's up YouTube, and welcome to another draw along with me, where today we're going to create this neon triangle design that eventually gets smaller and smaller in the distance, almost like a little vortex. Now, as always, there's links to everything in the description down below. You'll just need a palette for today. Everything else is built into Procreate. If you didn't already know, I post weekly tutorials here on my YouTube channel, but I also post every single month 3 new exclusive tutorials to my supporters over on Patreon, with the catalogue at over 60 at the time of recording. So be sure to check that out. All the links will be in the description down below if you want to come and show your support. And with all that said, let's get started. So once you've created your canvas, the first thing we'll do is change our background color, and we'll go ahead and change it to black by double tapping at the bottom of the disk and hitting done. Next, we'll go ahead and create our initial triangle. So we're going to go to our colors, and we're just going to double tap in the top left first of all to select white. We're going to go to our brush. We're going to go to the option of calligraphy, and we're going to use the monoline brush. Your opacity wants to be set to 100%, and currently the size is a little bit too small. So I'm just going to make it a little bit bigger, about 12%. And then we're going to go ahead and we're going to draw in a triangle. So if you draw a triangle as best you can, and then hold your point right at the end, at the top it will either say quadrilateral if it notices a sort of minor dip in the actual triangle. So you may need to go ahead and do it again. Once you get your triangle, what you can then do is pop your finger on the screen, and that will make it a perfect triangle, and you can scale it up and down with your desired size. So we want it so the point is facing down, ideally. So something around about this sort of scale looks pretty good to me, maybe even slightly smaller. And then you can go ahead and edit it if you need to, but you can grab your cursor. If you make sure snapping in the bottom left is turned on, you'll then be able to position it using the orange lines there, both horizontally and vertically, nice and central in the center of our canvas, and we can tap on our cursor when we're done. So then what we want to do is in our layers, so opening up our layers, we want to swipe this to the left 3 times until we duplicate it, and we've got 4 in a stack. And we're going to go ahead and turn off the top one for a moment. We're just going to leave our white one there because we'll need it later on. So what we're going to go ahead and do, we've got our top one here, which is going to be our teal color, and you can go ahead and go to your colors, grab the teal, and if you zoom in a little bit, it may make life a little bit easier. You can drag it into the space of the top triangle. If we then go to our layers and we go down a layer to the next triangle, we're going to go ahead and grab our cursor. We're going to go ahead and uniform this down in size. So using the uniform option here, we're going to scale it down in size. And again, we want to try and position it in the center. Now, we don't want to position it in the center of our canvas. We want to position it in the center of that triangle that you can see there. If I pop it here, you can see it's quite a lot lower. So we just need to go ahead and make sure it sits in the center of the triangle in the front area here. So I'm going to scale it down in size again until the gap is roughly this sort of size. And making sure it's nice and even all the way around. Tap on my cursor when I'm done. I'm then going to go to my layer, and then going to go ahead and go to my colors. I'll grab the third color on that top row and drag it into the line of that one. It's just a slightly off white. And then if we go to our layers and we go down to the very bottom one, we're going to go ahead and grab our cursor again, using uniform, scale it down in size using the node in the top right, and do exactly the same. We're just going to scale it down and make sure the gap is somewhat even. It can be slightly sort of smaller, the gap between these two, than these two. But again, we're just trying to position it, one, in the center of our canvas using that orange line there, and then just trying to make sure we sit in the middle of the triangle before it. So this one here. So just making sure the gap is as even all the way around as possible, and tap on your cursor when you're done. And then go to your colors and grab the pink here, the second color, and drag it onto the line of that triangle. So now we've got 3 triangles that's all set up, ready to go. What we're now going to do, just quickly before we resume, is the top triangle. We're going to go ahead and tap on it, and we're going to use the option of select. Make sure color fill is turned off. It should be grayed out like this. We're then going to go ahead and invert the selection. So we're selecting everything but the triangle. And then in our layers, we're going to go ahead and create a new layer at the top. So just underneath our white one there, go to your colors and double tap at the bottom of the disk to select black. And on this layer, we're going to drag black to the outside area here and let go. Now you won't see any visual change, but on your layers, you'll see that there is a layer now with a black triangle cut out in the center. Then tap on your selection tool when you're done. Now this layer here needs to sit underneath the teal blue one at the front there. And what this will do is this will just cage everything in there. So when we add the spiral effect, everything's just hidden within the spiral. So then what we're going to go ahead and do is go to our blue triangle at the front, swipe it to the left and duplicate it, and go ahead and drag it all the way to the bottom. So underneath your black cutout triangle, you'll have a white one, a pink one, and now a teal. And once again, we'll go to our cursor using the uniform option to scale it down in size, and we want to pop it in the center of the pink triangle this time. So again, hitting that orange line in the middle to let us know we are nice and central, and then just making sure our gap is even all the way around, and tap on your cursor when you're done. So now you should have this effect. Now you don't have to add the spiral effect. You can just do this and make it get progressively smaller, but I really like the spiral. So what we're going to do now is we're going to turn on the lights. So we're going to go to our layers and we're going to go up to the teal blue one here, the largest triangle. We're going to go to our adjustments and we're going to use the option of bloom. Now you're going to need to swipe from left to right until you see the blue layer sort of turn on there, which to me is roughly around about sort of the 85%. You can just swipe it all the way up to the top if you want, but I'm at about 90% bloom. And then you're going to need to match up to my settings down here, which I'll show you now. So these are the settings I'm going to use for the top triangle. My transition is at 94%, the size 37, and the burn at 74. And again, my bloom, I swiped from left to right on the screen and is at 90%. When you're done, just simply tap on your adjustments. Let's then go ahead and add in some more color further down as well. So we'll go down to the next triangle. Underneath our black cutout, we'll have the off-white one. We're going to go ahead and go to our adjustments. We're going to go back to bloom, and we're going to do the same for this one now. So swiping from left to right on the screen, it will roughly turn on around about sort of the 50% mark. And then again, you're going to need to match up to my settings, which I'll show you now. So my settings are 60% transition, 28% size, and 43% burn. A lot of the time the bloom is dependent on the color as well that you're working with. So if we then go ahead and go to our layers, we can jump straight there and it ends the adjustment. If we go to the pink layer, now we're going to go ahead and do the same. So on this layer, we'll go to our adjustments, we'll go to bloom, and again, we'll swipe from left to right until we see it turn on, which is actually quite hard to tell with the pink. So you're going to need to make it sort of up to 100%. And then again, match my settings, which I'll show you now. So my settings are 50% transition, 28% size, and a 68% burn. And you can tap on your adjustments when you're done. And then we'll go into our layers and go down one more to the blue layer. And we'll go ahead and go to our adjustments once again. We'll go to the option of bloom and swipe from left to right until you see it turn on, which is again very small. So we'll just go up to 100% bloom, and you're going to need to match my settings again, which again I'll show you now. So my sizes are 76% transition, 32% size, and a 79% burn, and 100% bloom at the top, and tap on the adjustments when we're done. Now at this stage, what we need to do is rotate the 3 inner triangles all to the same degree, and then we can go ahead and just continue to make it smaller and smaller until it just vanishes. So we're going to go to our layers, and for a moment what we can do is we can swipe from left to right on all 3 underneath the black triangle and group them together. This will make life a little bit easier shortly. And then what we'll do is we'll grab the white triangle, we'll tap on our cursor, we'll go ahead and tap on this green node here at the top of the transformation, and this is your rotation tool. And we're just going to add in a rotation of 5 degrees, and you'll see it there, spin round, then go to your layers, go to the next layer down, the pink one, tap on your cursor, tap on the green node, and we're going to enter 10%. So 10% there on the angle, tap on our cursor when we're done. And then we're going to go into our layers again, go down to the blue one at the bottom, tap on your cursor, and again tap on the green node, and this time 15 degrees. Now you can make that a little bit steeper if you want, but I quite like the fact that they don't touch. They touch quite close here at the front, but as you get progressively further back, they shouldn't touch at all. So for a minute, again, you can leave it like that if you want. It's a very cool little effect. But what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and collapse that group down. We'll swipe the group to the left and duplicate it. Grab the bottom group out of the 2. Grab your cursor. And with the uniform option, we're going to need to scale this down in size. You're probably going to have to go smaller than you anticipate, like so for a minute. And then at the top, we're going to need to go ahead and rotate this another 15 degrees. So tap on the green node and tap on 15 degrees. That will give you the correct angle, and then it's just a matter of positioning it correctly. Now, if you take a look at the ones around it, the white triangle gets very close to the edges on most of the sides. That one there, for example, could probably do with being adjusted, but it's fine. We'll let it pass. So if you take a look inside the blue triangle there, this white one is the one that we're working with, and you can see the gap there is pretty even all the way around. So I can in fact tap on my cursor and now that has been applied. Now again, it's up to you. You can do it once more if you like, so the rules still apply. You can go ahead and swipe it to the left and duplicate it. The bottom group out the two, tap on it, grab your cursor, and you're going to need to go ahead and scale it down in size. Again, fairly small. Zoom in, and again, just tap on the green node at the top and rotate it another 15 degrees. It will rotate in behind there, and then it's just a matter again of just scaling it up in size until it has sort of an even gap all the way around to the others. So I'm probably going to need to make it a little bit bigger than that, but to something like this. And you can tap on your cursor when you're done, and that sort of triangle now just spirals backwards and just disappears into a very small sort of design. Now to make that sort of look like it really does have a bit of distance to it, what you can do is to go up to your layers, and then in each layer we're going to progressively turn it down in its opacity. So take a look at your group. The top group here is the main ones at the front. We're going to leave them. We're not going to tamper with them. So the second group down, turn it on and off just to be sure, and you can see that it's in the triangle there. If we open it up, the white one, we'll tap on it. We'll lower its opacity down to say 90%, and whatever percentage you lower it by, you just need to make it consistent as you go further back. So you could drop it by 10%, and as you get further back, each one is 10%. So go down to the pink one, tap on it, lower its opacity down to 80%, open up the teal one in that group, tap on it and lower its opacity down to 70%. We can then go ahead and collapse that group down, go to the furthest triangles, open that up, we tap on the white one, tap on it and drop it down to 60%, and the pink one, we'll drop that one down to 50%, and the teal one, we'll tap on it and drop it all the way down to 40%. That way they get progressively more faded as they get further back. We end up with this really cool effect where they are just fading out in the distance. So now we've done all of our triangle, we can now go ahead and add in some cool little effects to the top of this. Now earlier on I asked you to keep a white triangle at the very top, and I'm going to turn that on because I want the triangle at the front here, although it's teal, just to have a bit of a brighter neon bar to it. So with the white one at the top, we're going to go ahead and tap on the layer and change its blend mode to add. So you just need to scroll down from normal to add, and then just lower the opacity down, and you'll see the difference. One, if you drop it all the way down to 0, is like a teal, and then if you bring it in a little bit up towards the sort of 75% mark, it will make it a little bit more of a white beam. So I'm going to drop it actually to 70%. That way we have a nice strong beam here, but you still get a sense for the color. Now what you can also do is if you go to your layers and we go ahead and create a new layer at the very top, and we change the blend mode from normal and we change it to soft light, and we go to our colors, we double tap in the top left to select white, and we go to our brush library, and if we go ahead and go into the option of elements and we use the clouds brush, we can use this as somewhat like a smoke, so around about sort of 15% with your size. If we zoom in and you just run this up and down the front beam here, we can add in this really cool sort of smoky effect to it. Just adds in a little bit of more sort of texture, and you can maybe make your brush size a little bit smaller, about sort of 6%, and run it up and down the beams that are a little bit further back, but don't go all the way down. You don't want the ones in the distance to have that much detail because they're further back, of course. So you've got that cool little smoky effect. Next, let's go ahead and add in a bit of a reflection underneath. So what we can do is we just go ahead and select all of our layers, and to do that we'll just swipe from left to right on all the layers, from left to right, selecting all of them, grab the cursor and just move it up a little bit. So we've got a little bit more space underneath, and tap on your cursor when you're done. We then need to add in a reflection underneath. So for this we need to select everything, but we want to have a nice transparent space in between them. So we're going to go ahead and turn off this middle triangle here, which just ever so slightly clips in some of the work. So we'll turn that off. We'll also turn off our background color. And we can then swipe with 3 fingers down on the screen and go to the option of copy all. If we then go back to our layers and turn on the black triangle there and the background color, and we go right to the top of our layers and we swipe with 3 fingers down, 3 fingers down, and go to the option of paste. We'll then add that triangle in, and you can just flip it vertically, move it down until it's upside down like so. And you can leave a little gap if you want, so it looks like it's floating, and you can tap on your cursor when you're done. Now for a minute, just go ahead and turn it off. We just want to add in a floor to the ground. So we're going to go ahead and create a new layer. We're going to go ahead and go to our colors. We'll grab the teal or the blue in the top left of our palette, and we'll go to our brush library and go to airbrushing and the soft brush. Now with our soft brush under airbrushing set to about sort of 30%, just tap a few times in the center just to create like an orb of color. Then grab your cursor, use the freeform option and make it a little bit wider, a little bit flatter, and you'll add somewhat of a glow to the ground. You can make it a little bit wider than that if you wish, and make sure it hits that center line. And once you've got a little bit of a gap underneath it, we can then go back to our layers and grab the layer here of our reflection and move it just on top of that glow. Let's then turn on that layer again, go to its blend mode by tapping on the N, and I've moved it off to the left. If we scroll down through here, we can change it to the option of soft light, which will just give you a little bit of a reflection only in the lightest part of the floor. If you tap away, we've then got this nice little glow on the ground. Now we can emphasize that a little bit more because at the minute the glow's sort of all the same, but we've got the brightest point right here. So we're just going to go to our layers. We're going to grab the blue glow that we created and we're going to swipe it to the left and duplicate it. We're going to change its blend mode from normal, change it to add, and then we're going to grab our cursor and using the uniform option, just move it off to the left a second, just scale it down in size. And we want to just position this brighter glow just underneath that brightest point. So it's just here. So we're just going to pop that on the floor, just a little bit of an orb there. And if I turn it on and off in my layers, you'll be able to see the difference. Turn it on and off there. You can see that little glow there on the ground. And if we go ahead and zoom in and we go full screen with 4, we end up with today's finished design. So I hope you enjoyed this simple neon design. As always, please be sure to share your designs with me over on Instagram. I look forward to seeing your finished creations. And a massive shout out to all of my supporters over on Patreon who help make these videos possible. If you want to get your name featured in videos, get access to a catalogue of over 60 tutorials with 3 added every single month, and sneak peeks, early access, and much, much more, hit the link in the description down below. And if you like this tutorial, you'll probably like this one on the screen now. So have a wonderful day, and I'll see you in the next one.